What if I told you that a house you move into doesn't just change your life, but changes who you are? What if I told you that it makes you see things? Things that never should have been seen. Things that never existed until you walked through the door. When I first saw the house, I thought it was perfect, situated on the outskirts of a quiet town. The Victorian mansion looked like something from another time, a forgotten relic in need of someone to breathe life into it again. The walls were tall, the windows wide, and the yard, though overgrown, had an untold beauty. I had recently gone through a tough breakup and decided to leave the city behind. I wanted peace. I needed peace. The house seemed to promise that, a sanctuary away from everything, away from the shows of my life. But little did I know, the house had plans of its own. I signed the papers without hesitation. I prayed for a new start. It was a mistake, but at the time, it felt like the answer to everything. The first few days were quiet, almost too quiet. The air in the house felt thick, as if I'd been holding its breath for years. The furniture was old, but sturdy, and the floors creaked under my weight, reminding me that this place had seen many years of life and death. I began to explore the house room by room. The walls were lined with dark wood paneling, and the ceiling was high, adorned with intricate moldings. Each room had its own distinct feel. The library smelled of old paper, the kitchen was cool and smelled faintly of something burnt, and the master bedroom, my bedroom, was the one that unsettled me the most. It was the window. When I first looked out of it, I saw the garden stretching out into a thick forest of trees, but the longer I stared, the more wrong it felt. The trees seemed to shift unnaturally, their branches twisting in ways they shouldn't. And in the distance, a shape, a figure, moved, though there was no one around. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just my overactive imagination. After all, I was alone in a large, old house. That night, the silence was deafening. The house seemed to hum with an energy I couldn't quite place. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Every time I tried to close my eyes, the soft sound, footsteps, echoed through the hallway. I convinced myself it was just the house settling. But then I heard something I couldn't ignore, a voice. Help me. It was faint, almost like a whisper, but it was there. My heart raced. I sat up, frozen in place. I wanted to call out, but my voice stuck in my throat. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, just a bad dream or the wind. But the voice came again, help me. I stood up, trembling, and walked toward the hallway. The air was colder now, and the lights flickered as I moved down the long corridor. As I approached the stairs, I saw something. A shadow. It was tall, almost towering, and it seemed to be waiting for me at the bottom of the stairs. It didn't move. The next morning, I decided to explore the basement. The house had an old, dusty smell that seemed to linger everywhere. As I opened the basement door, I was greeted by a musty, damp air. The stone walls were lined with shelves filled with forgotten trinkets, dusty boxes, old lamps, and farmed photos. I ran my fingers over the shelves, feeling the weight of time pressing down on me. But then I found it, a diary. It was bound in cracked leather, and the pages were yellowed with age. I opened it, reading the first few lines. The house watches. It waits for you to let your guard down. When you do, it will take you. The door is always open. I felt a shiver run down my spine. What was this? A warning? The more I read, the more I realized that the house had a history. A dark one. The journal spoke of previous owners, all of whom had mysteriously disappeared or left without a trace. Each entry was filled with fear, a constant warning about the house's power. It had been alive long before I stepped foot inside. Days passed, and the house seemed to change. I would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of whispers, soft at first, barely audible, but growing louder as time went on. The voices spoke in a language I didn't understand, and yet I felt they were trying to communicate with me, telling me something. Then came the dreams. Every night, I would dream of the figure in the forest, the one I had seen outside my window, but in my dreams, the figure was closer, always closer. One night, I woke up to find my bedroom door wide open. The whispers were louder now, almost frantic. I rushed to close the door, but as I turned, I saw it, a shape standing in the corner of the room, shrouded in darkness. It was tall, like the figure in my dreams, and then, in a voice that made my blood run cold, it spoke. "You shouldn't have come here." I tried to leave. I packed my bags, intending to escape, but the door wouldn't open. It was locked. I screamed, pulling at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The house had trapped me. And then I saw it, the mirror. It had been there the entire time, behind the heavy curtains reflecting my every move. I hadn't noticed it before, but now it seemed to pulse with energy. When I looked into it, I didn't see myself. I saw someone else. It was a man, pale and gaunt, with hollow eyes staring back at me, and then he smiled, a twisted, unnatural smile. "You're part of the house now. You will never leave." I searched the house, looking for any escape, any way out. But it was clear the house didn't want me to leave. It wanted me to stay, to be part of it. Like the others before me, it wanted my soul. As the days passed, the house began to change in ways I couldn't explain. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the air grew thick with the scent of decay. I could hear the whispers now, constantly in my ear, telling me things I didn't want to hear. "It's too late for you." The house still stands, waiting for its next victim. I have become part of it, just as the journal warned. And if you listen closely enough, you will hear the whispers too. You might think it's just the wind, but it's not. It's the house, and soon it will be waiting for you. Would you dare to step inside?